Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable First Supervisor, Sir Samtidar SPD MED Tesol EDD. The Second Supervisor, Mem DRA Syarifah Faradiba M. Hum. The Honorable, the First Examiner, Sir Munir SPD MED Tesol. The Second Examiner, Mem Mardiana Nastah SS SPD M. Hum. First of all, thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who always give hope and blessing and salvation for all of us, and my salawat and salam for our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who always give a goodness in the world. In this opportunity, I am Widya Sari Ismail, and I will present my research finding and discussion entitled Students' Perception on YouTube-based English Learning. So here are the table of the content in the chapter 4 and chapter 5. Chapter 4 covers findings and discussion, and the chapter 5 covers conclusion and suggestion. And the finding of the research show the result of interview to answer the research question in the first chapter. Can YouTube promote students' autonomous learning? And then here are the findings. The first finding is the students' attitude toward English learning independently using YouTube. And then the researcher find about the students' opinion. The students' opinion about English learning as a media for individual learning. The students think that all of them seems have a positive opinion about learning English independently using YouTube. In this aspect, students agree that YouTube is a suitable media in individual English learning. In terms of individual learning, students think that YouTube is a suitable media because YouTube helps them in learn English with a various content. YouTube show many sources, and it makes students easier to understand the material they learn, and it also fits the students' individual learning style, especially for them who like to learn through audio-visual media. And then this topic also shows students' feeling when using YouTube to learn English independently. When it is related to the students' experience in using the YouTube application, they feel that it is comfortable to learn using YouTube because YouTube is simple, and YouTube videos combine a visual context with a spoken language. It is make the students enjoy to learn because they can choose to appreciate and interesting material by themselves. And then this finding also shown the students' opinion about the reason why they interest using YouTube as a media to learn English independently. Most of the students interest because of the interesting visual content, and the provided by YouTube is appropriate with their preference. The second findings is the students' intention in using YouTube to learn English independently. Regarding to the students' intention, most of the students intend to use YouTube to improve their English language skill. In this case, most of the students use YouTube to practice speaking and their listening, also increase their vocabulary and improve their pronunciation. And for the third findings, the students' experience about how they learn independently through YouTube to improve their English skill. This topic shown that the students learn by themselves using YouTube as a media. In terms of listening, most of students learn by listening to any content such as vlog, and they try to understand what the speaker say. Students are familiar with the target language. As they listen more from English video will improve the listening skill. And for the students' speaking skill are affected by their mastery of pronunciation. Most of the students learn through YouTube videos by native English speaker. This kind of video can provide example of how they utter their sentence with a proper pronunciation. Students also internalize the intonation through the habituation in watching YouTube videos, with many video featuring native English speaker using YouTube video as learning media can provide the proper information in intonation. Proper intonation in English. Students also observe and imitate how the native speaker speaks. YouTube videos also provide a wide range of vocabulary since they include various topic from entertainment to educational content. YouTube accessibility for students, which provide a wide range of videos on various topics. Students choose the video that they like, and then while they are watching, they are exposed to new words and how they are used. The use of interactive video on YouTube could assist students to practice their vocabulary in use, copying how English native speakers use those words in the proper context. For videos that include many new words, the spelling provided in the subtitle can also help the students to check the word in their dictionary. Then the next finding is about students' opinion about the advantages and disadvantages in learning English independently using YouTube. The researcher found out all of the students are get many benefits by learning English through YouTube. Learning process using YouTube are very flexible. One of the flexibility offered learning using YouTube is that they can access anytime, anywhere based on the student's response. All of the students also think so that they learn through YouTube can be done anywhere, and as long as the students have internet connection. And then another advantages is YouTube channel also provide a various of topic in learning English. There are many YouTube channels for learning English. The students can learn from various sources by watching the videos on YouTube. And this topic also shows the student opinion about the disadvantages of using YouTube to learn English individually. Using YouTube completely relies upon an internet. There is no means that accessing of YouTube study contents if there is no access to the internet or the website. Moreover, using videos for a prolonged time may cause a significant amount of cellular data. The researcher also found that the students feel uncomfortable when the duration of learning video they watch was too long, and the students would become bored, and then this would decrease their level of focus. It can affect the students' interest to keep going learning from the video. The next finding is about the difficulties that students face and how they overcome it in learning English independently using YouTube. In the interview, the researcher asked the students if there are any difficulty that they face when learn through YouTube, and the most technical challenges in using YouTube videos as learning tool is the unstable connection necessary for accessing the material, and there are some students said that the difficulty is on the signal. They feel the problem on bad signal because it would be an effect to the video that they learn. And another difficulties that students face is sometimes students feel difficult when the students using YouTube in English learning, especially when there are an unfamiliar terms or the voice is not very clear from the speaker. From the students' answer, it can be concluded that using YouTube, by using YouTube, not all of the students have the same level of understanding. Although there are some difficulties in learning English individually through YouTube, nevertheless, students can also face difficulties such as in terms of bad connection problem one of the students suggests to use Wi-Fi. Using Wi-Fi can be alternative that can help the students learn with a better network coverage. And then another suggestion uh, related with the difficulty when student using YouTube is some students suggest looking for another video that is easier to understand. This is also not a difficult things to do because considering the available of a lot of the content on YouTube. The next finding is the student's opinion about the differences between English learning independently using YouTube and other media. As we know that each media has its own advantages and disadvantages, especially in learning. Compared to the other media, YouTube is considered more complete and authentic. In addition, YouTube is also equipped with more detailed explanation or more complex material. Therefore, for independent English learning, the students seems agree that YouTube is the most effective medium compared to the other media. Okay, so that's for the findings, and the next one is the discussion of this research. The discussion parts display the related findings of how YouTube promotes students' autonomous learning. So according to the Little in 2001, the practice of learner autonomy requires a positive attitude, a capacity for reflection, and readiness to be proactive in self-management and interaction with others. Through the interview and reflecting on the theory, this study showed that the students seems to have a positive attitude toward the use of YouTube as a media to learn English independently. YouTube is one of the social media that is useful in academic and can help the students understand the material. These findings support the theory from Fleck and Hasil and about the use of YouTube in education is suitable. And based on the result, majority of the informants were comfortable to use YouTube videos to learn English independently. This data support the finding of this study, a study in 2010, which was conducted by a lineage. The result implied that the internet and YouTube were great English language learning tools, and students are also interested in video vary. YouTube video provides scene animation and movement that can make the students interest. This statement is supported by McKinnon in 2011, who stated that the scene, movements, feelings, and gesture present in the YouTube video segment offer a significant visual boost to language learning. Regarding the students' intention, most of the students intend to use YouTube to improve their English language skill. From the review conducted by San et al., it is revealed that the YouTube videos can be used to improve this aspect of speaking skill and promote autonomy among the students. It is also proved by their statement in the interview. The researcher highlight 3 English improvement of several students at English Education Study Program after using the YouTube application. Most of the students improve their speaking skill by using YouTube application. It's according to the Jalaluddin 2016. Note that YouTube help learn speaking skill, and for listening skill, for the pronunciation can be improved by getting exposure to the correct pronunciation and mimicking it is repetitively according to this reason and areas in 2017. YouTube video also important YouTube video also improve listening skill. According to several students state that they can improve their listening skill by watching video on YouTube. This theory provide this theory also found in also stated by Al-Dukhail in 2019. This expected to meet the expectation of internet generation who tend to demand varied learning. It's also approved by Sakirdola and Ahmad in 2020. Students agree that learning English through YouTube is interesting and can be used as encourage students listening skill. And then YouTube also provide a wide range of vocabulary. This provided by Teng in 2020. And for the benefit of YouTube, students can access YouTube from any location in the world. It's according to Monhouse and Forbes in 2015 state that YouTube is flexible because students can watch a video on their smartphone. And then this also similar with Rahayu and 2020. Another benefit is YouTube also provide a wide range of videos on various topics. It's according to Arndt and War in 2018. And another finding, for disadvantages through interview, the disadvantages is not all students will able to use more internet, use to afford this much of internet data. So this is related to the result of the study from Supendra and Amelia in 2020. And the students also felt uncomfortable when the duration of learning video they watch was too long. It's as compared in Harmer in 2006 theory who state that the duration of video in a learning activity must be calculated. It won't be effective if the video is too long. Moreover, there are several challenges related to the use of YouTube in English learning. The unstable internet connection could be one of the reasons. Access to language material could be problematic. It's according to Kusmar Yani Mushafa and Purnawarman in 2019. The problem of internet network could affect the quality of the video. Students also would be disturbed and frustrated. It's according to Anggraini and Fatur Rahman in 2021. It can be concluded that this finding also support the theory from Ami, Matthew, and France about challenges using technologies. And from the student's perspective, there are times when some students find difficulties in comprehending the learning material delivered through YouTube videos. It's also supported by Nur Hakim et al. In 2021, say that a YouTube video might be complex for the students to comprehend because they are not carefully selected to meet the student's level and readiness. The student should choose the video critically to suit their learning goals. It's according to the Anggraini and Fatur Rahman in 2021. And according to Wilson in 2015, in his research found that the videos watching and being able to access educational videos at home via YouTube can help the students achieve higher success because of the probability of rewatch the video and watch at their own desired pace. Nevertheless, the students choose YouTube as an effective media that can be used to learn English individually than the other media. According to Utami Suwastini and Dantes and Prihatin in 2021. YouTube videos provide authentic language use, which might not available in textbooks, which is very important for supporting students' learning. And the finding also proved by the results showed in Handayani, Shafi'i, and Utari in 2021 that social media that students use for learning English are social media that students use for learning English are YouTube. Is YouTube, in line with a study conducted by Savitri in 2021, they choose YouTube as the most used social media for learning English, and as the result, the findings of this research are in line with the study conducted by Saputri in 2021 that using YouTube in English language learning to develop students' autonomous learning is beneficial for students. By using YouTube in learning process, the students feel the positive impact and the challenges. Same with the Supendra and Amelia in 2021, they found that the students perceive more autonomous while searching supporting material on YouTube, and they were still dealing with some challenges. And the last is chapter 5, conclusion and suggestion. In the conclusion, based on the result of this research, source interview conducted with English education study programs, a total of 6 people were willing to be interviewed. In the result, students think that YouTube is a suitable media in terms of individual English learning process because YouTube helped them to learn, and most the students also feel that it is comfortable and they are interested with YouTube visual content. Moreover, learn through YouTube is flexible and accessible. YouTube channels also provide a wide range of topic in learning English. Regarding the students' intention, most of the students intend to use YouTube to help them improve their English skills, such as their listening and speaking skill. Furthermore, students also think that their vocabulary increase and the way they pronounce words be better using YouTube compared to the others media. The students prefer YouTube as an effective learning tool in individual English learning. So it can be concluded that YouTube can promote students' autonomous learning. Nevertheless, the students also face some challenges in using YouTube as a media to learn English independently. In this case, the students argue that using YouTube for a prolonged time might cost significant amount of cellular data. Not all of the students will able to afford this much of data, and the students also can easily bored if the duration of the video are too long. And moreover, students also face a difficulty related to the internet connection and unfamiliar terms or when the voice is not very clear from the speaker, it may be difficult for students to take the learning. And the suggestion for the students and English teacher, based on the finding, although YouTube has its challenges, but it also showed that the YouTube is beneficial in English learning. Teachers and students are expected to be more familiar and understand well in the online material, especially YouTube, to implement it in the teaching and learning process in any condition to have an effective teaching and learning. And for the further researcher in this digital era, technology continues to develop as a teacher and students nowadays are expected to have a good technological knowledge to use online material to learn English. Since this study only investigate the students' perception of using YouTube and the students in English independent learning, some problems still face. The researcher hope the future research can explore in depth the implementation of YouTube in teaching and the difficulties implementing YouTube in education. I think that's all for this finding and discussion presentation. Thank you for your great opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.